Darayavaus means possessing goodness, composed of daraya meaning to possess, to hold, and vow meaning good. Darayavaus. Darius, mentioned in the Kebra Nagast, is not the same Darius that we see mentioned in the Bible and in archaeology. Darius, who ruled Assyria in the 5th century. Darius, the name Darius is the Greek form of, or the Latin form of the Greek Darius, and is derived from Old Persian. The Old Persian name is Darius, which is a shortened form of Daryavaus, Darayavahus, Darayavahus. Okay, so it's an Old Persian title. So we have an Assyrian king in the 5th century, the 6th to 5th century, with an Old Persian name. Could this have been an Old Persian throne name? Darayavahus, Darayavahus, right? Darayavahus, an Old Persian name. Now, Darius is recorded in the 6th chapter of Ezra. He commissioned the he gave permission for the Jews to rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. So the Darius of the Kebra Nagast lived 18 generations before Solomon, right? Now we don't see any clear archaeological evidence. However, we have the Kebra Nagast. The Kebra Nagast gives us some clues. So it tells us of the seed of Darius was born a man whose name was Zanbares, and he made in wisdom a drawing of the astrolabe, and placed stars therein, and a balance for the sun. Imzeraziyahu tawalla bi'isi the Samuz and Beres wa Gebra betiba mishafe Astraloba wa Rasaya kewakbita wa Medalwe Sahai. Welcome back to Epic Ethiopian History with Tawadros. Not even half of the story has ever been told. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Now we're still on the 72nd chapter of the Kebra Nagast concerning the king of Rome. It's interesting in the Giz, it says he made in wisdom a book of Astraloba, a book of the Astrolabe, and placed stars, right? And placed stars and a balance for the sun. So the Kebra Nagast in the Giz is saying it's like a book. Okay, in the English it says drawing, but it says in the Giz it says a book of the Astrolabe, and place stars therein, and a balance for the sun. Right? Imzeraziyahu tawalde be'isiza smooth and beres wa gebra betebeb metzafe asteloba wa rasaya kawakbita wa medalwe tsahai. So this is one clue we have for a connection, right? Who in history made an astrolabe or a star map? Because some of these ancient star maps, well, it says he placed stars therein, so it sounds more like a star map. Okay? So we see in ancient Assyria, we see these clay tablets with these star maps on there, right? And you have to remember that there's a connection between the Assyrian kingdom and the Persian kingdom. Okay, so these kingdoms, these people were living together in the same lands. You find Persian people in Turkey and in Mesopotamia, and also Assyrians. So that's why you see, Darius is a Assyrian king with a Persian name. وصبر إيا كما زلعك هابي داويد نجوس ويبي نسائقا ولاتيا لوالدك. And when he saw, he sent a message to David the king, saying, "Take my daughter for thy son." ونسى داويد نجوس ووهبه لسلومون ولدي. And David the king took her and gave her to Solomon his son. So we have a clue here, that we have the clue about the star maps. So this king was said by wisdom to have written by in wisdom written the star map or the astrolabe. Also, we see that Solomon receives a wife from the king, Zanaberes, right? And so that's two clues right there. So if we look in the Bible, we notice that Solomon had many wives. However, he did have wives that were Hittite wives, right? And he had wives that were Sidonian, and he had wives that were Egyptian. He had wives from different countries, and these were usually a way to make a treaty with these countries. Now he had Hittite wives, and the land of the Hittites, was in the area that we now call modern day Turkey and Syria. So, and also the Persians were in that land as well. So, we know that Turkey became a part of the kingdom of Neo Assyria, the Neo Assyrian kingdom, right? After they defeated the Hittites. So it kind of became a Neo Hittite Assyrian empire, right? So they didn't conquer all of Turkey, right? There were other parts of Turkey that they did not conquer. However, you had a portion of the population that were Hittite Assyrian. So, and that's around the time of the kingdom of David. So I'm looking now for an Assyrian king, because it wouldn't have been a Hittite king, because the Hittite kingdom had ended. However, remember, Solomon had these Hittite wives. So these Hittite wives came from the Assyrian. They came from Turkey, the land we call Turkey, right? And the land of the Hittites was in the area known as Anatolia, their capital, a place called Hattusa, right? Hattusa in north central Turkey, and there's archaeological evidence for that land being the land of the Hittites. Like for example, the Lion Gate. Now, the Hittites were a member of an ancient Indo-European people who appeared in Anatolia at the beginning of the second millennium BCE. They became one of the dominant powers of the Middle East by 1340 BCE. The Hittites first occupied central Anatolia, making their capital at Hattusa, which is modern day Bogazkoy. Bogazkoy, I don't know how to pronounce that, so please forgive me for the pronunciation. Bogazkoy in Turkey. They probably originated from an area beyond the Black Sea and established their kingdom from Anatolia, Turkey, to northern Syria. The Bible classifies them as Canaanites. According to the Bible in 1 Kings chapter 11, Solomon had many wives and among his wives were Hittite women. The land of the Hittites became the land of the Assyrians. And even though the area of Hatti was known as Hatti even until the 6th century, 630 BCE to be exact, the people no longer remembered the Hatti or the Hittite kings. The Assyrian culture and values dominated the area. So they no longer saw themselves as Hittites or identified with Hittites. And they no longer knew their own history. Now, early on during the time of Solomon, uh, they still had their Hittite identity, yet they were under Assyrian rule. Assyrian rule. If the timeline is correct, if the timelines are correct in terms of when King David and Solomon were alive, right? If that timeline is correct. وَوَلَدَ ابْنِهَا وَسَمَيُّ Adrami, and Solomon begat a son by her, and called his name Adrami. So Solomon had a child with the daughter of the king of Rome, king a man named Zanbaris. We just wanted to bring forth some evidence from the biblical point and archaeological perspective. A biblical perspective and archaeological perspective. So we see that Solomon had Hittite women. So it's not a far fetched. It's not something far fetched because Solomon did have Hittite women as wives, and the land of Hittites was in Turkey. That was a part of the Assyrian Empire, which had conquered the Hittites. Right, not too long before that era of David and Solomon. So that would later on become Rome. So it's everything's lining up. So we're just dotting our i's and crossing our t's. Of course, we could have missed something. There can be it's very possible that there's information that we're not privy to. Now, so far, this is what we have. Now let's go back and let's read it from the top, right? Now, during my research, there's something I found very interesting. The only problem is it's a quite a small kingdom. Though it is said that it was said by many Greek scholars, like Herodotus, that the Etruscans, who are the ancestors of the Romans of Italy, are actually have been people from Anatolia who invaded Eritrea before 800 BC. And so these Anatolians could have become the ancestors of the Etruscans, and then the Etruscans became the Romans. Interestingly enough, on the west coast of Turkey, there is actually a kingdom called Mira. In English, they say Mira, right? So there's a king called Tarakas Nawa. He's a king. He was a king of the kingdom of Mira, a semi-autonomous vassal state that emerged from western Anatolia. Interestingly, in their language, the actual name for Mira is actually called Erme, Erme, Erome, Erme, Erome. If you just put that vowel sound on the R, it's literally would be Rome, 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 which is basically Rome, or Romia, Romia, right? So could this have been the people that invaded that invaded Eritrea and became the Etruscans, the ancestors of the Romans in Italy, which still lines up with the Hittite theory. And here's a seal. Here's a seal written in cuneiform, because again, cuneiform was used from Persia all the way to Turkey, to the west coast of Turkey, even right from the Persian Gulf all the way to the Mediterranean. So we see here on the seal it says in cuneiform, Tariq Time. So his name is actually Tariq Time in their language. Tariq Time, Sarmat Erme, 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 Tariq Time, king of the country of Erme. The only problem with Erme is that it was a smaller, it wasn't a massive land, a massive country like the kingdom of the Hatti, or the the Assyrian kingdoms. At the same time, archaeologists also say that Israel is not was not such a major, massive empire as many may believe. Though the Israelites are the chosen people of Yehovah, Adonai. Now, in the Bible, in the Old Testament, they were the chosen people, and so could this be the Ramia, the Rome that the Kebra Nagast is referring to? Because it's in Turkey, um, though Antioch is southeast, and southeast, nearer to Syria, right, nearer to that area of Turkey. So I just wanted to put this out there. Um, and again, remember, there's a theory that the Greek historians had, that the Etruscans, the ancestors of the Romans in Italy, could have been a people from Anatolia, from Turkey, who migrated and invaded the land, or migrated into the land, and they became the Etruscans. So there's a theory that the people, Italians, basically descended from the people of Hatti, the Hittites, the people of Turkey. So I just wanted to put this out there. Benta Nugusa Romhi, concerning the king of Rome. Wabenta Nugus Romhi Noetan Nugrokumu Zasama'ina Zarakabina Tsohofa Zaraina. And we will begin to tell you what we have heard and what we have found written and what we have seen concerning the king of Rome. Mengistu Rome se la Yafet welde no konet kuflua Mengistu. The kingdom of Rome was a portion and dominion of Japhet, the son of Noah. Wenze yinebru gebru ahgura abeta. Asru kle wa ila Iabia. Ahgura Mengistomu Darius Hanetze Antiochia wa Dirsia wa Bartonia wa Romia wa yinebru hiye elenegsu. And sitting down, they made 12 great cities, and Darius built the greatest cities of their kingdoms, Antioch, Dresia, and Bartonia, and Ramia, and those who reigned dwelt there. وقسطنطينية إمدهر Christos هانتسه Constantinos نجوس بسموس وبأسترايو تأمرت مسكال وبوست ساب بأمثال كواكبت صحوفان وسط سماي دهانه إمد تسرو. And King Constantine built Constantinople after his own name. Now, the sign of the cross having appeared to him during the battle in the form of stars, cut in the heavens, he was delivered out of the hands of his enemy. Now, the sign of the cross having appeared to him during the battle in the form of stars cut in the heavens, he was delivered out of the hands of his enemy. So, they're talking about Constantine here, which is who built Constantinople or what we call Istanbul. So, this is definitely after Solomon. Let's continue. وَإِمَّا أَمِيهَا رَسَيُّ مَهِدَرُومُ هِيَ نَجَسْتَرُوم. And from that time onwards, the kings of Rome made their habitation there. وَوَأْتُوا دَارِيُوس كَانَ زَرُوبُزُوهَا. ومن داريوس اسكن ويلة سلومون كونو آسر وسننتو تولد. And that Darius had many descendants, and from Darius to the days of Solomon were 18 generations. So you see here in the reading, it's like they went and were talking about Constantine and Constantinople, and then they went back to Darius, right? And they're saying from Darius unto the time of Solomon's 18 generations. إما زرازياه تولى بإسكيز السمو زنبريس وجبر بتبة مسافة أستلوبة ورسية كواكبته ومدالوة سهاي. And of his seed was born a man whose name was Zanbaris. And he made in wisdom a drawing of the Astrolabe, and placed stars therein, and a balance for the sun. Now, a lot of these Babylonian star maps and astrolabes. Uh, there's two types of astrolabes, by the way. You have you have the tablet, and then you have the astrolabe that is like the device instrument. So this is talking about the tablet, and these clay tablets with the stars, like the three stars each, and then the mul apin. They are from the time of 1200 BC to 1000 BC. And 1000 BC is around the time of Solomon, King David and Solomon, right? So let's continue, right? So ورئية زدهاري كما يتنبر من قست هبهم ولدكيك يافت على تفلس هبه زرا داويد نجرزهم. And he saw what would come after, and that the kingdom would not remain to the children of Japhet, but would depart to the seed of David of the tribe of Shem. صبر إيا كمز لعاك هابي داويد نقوس ويبي نسائع ولتيا لول نسائع ولتيا لولدك. And when he saw this, he sent a message to David the king, saying, "Take my daughter for thy son." ونسى داويد نقوس ووهبه لسلومون ولدي. And David the king took her and gave her to Solomon his son. وولد ابنها وسميه Adrami. And Solomon begat a son by her, and called his name Adrami. Adrami. وموت وأتو كدامي وموت وأتو كدامي ونجس بالتسور زم أزماديه وهاتا تبعته ولوده زي نجس دهره ديبه من برو. And Zanbaris died before this, and Baltasar, who was of his kinsmen, became king, and he lacked male offspring to reign after him upon his throne. ويكن كما ين ويكن كما ينجس دهره دقيقة أبوه. And he was jealous lest the children of his father should reign after him. ولهاك هابي سلومون نجوس صحيفو ولهاك هابي سلومون نجوس صحيفو إن زيبب سلام لا سلام لأبي منجستك ولتببك كبرت. And he sent a written message to Solomon the king, saying, Hail to the greatness of thy kingdom and to thine honorable wisdom. ويئزينيها هابنيا ولدكا زانيكسا ليلة هاجر روميا. And now give me thy son, whom I will make king over the city of Rome. اسمع أنت سأنكوا وليدة تبعت زنبلة سلستوا والد وإهوبا وإهوبو إما أوالية زفكرة وإهوبو منبرية ويكون نجوس وإتو وزرو إمدهريه وسط هاجر روميا إسكال العالم. For I have not been able to beget male children, but only 3 daughters. And I will give him whichever of my daughters he pleaseth. And I will give him my throne, and he shall be king, and he and his seed after him in the city of Rome forever. وصوب أن بابا لإيتي كرتاس وصوب أن بابا لإيتي كرتاس نجوس سلومون علي إن زيبك لأما كلاكو وليك يلئك هابي نجوس سرك ويهوبو ولدو وتبتل انت مكركو. And when King Solomon had read this letter, he meditated, saying, If I keep back my son, he will send to the king of the east, who will give him his son, and that which I have planned will be made void. So the king of the east is a great king that Solomon is saying, if Baltasar sends to the king of the east and he gives him his son, then everything he plans will be made void. Therefore I will give him my son. ومكر مسلم من مكرته زبية إسرائيل ويبيلوم اسمه وهابنا والدنا ودكيكن لبهير إثيوبيا وكون بهي منجست لإسرائيل. And he took counsel with his counselors of the house of Israel, and he said unto them, We have already given our son and our children to the country of Ethiopia, and Israel has a kingdom there. وإذن كما يكون لنا ثالث منجست لهاجر رومي وأنهي فينو لأرداميس وليا زي نئس. And now, so that we may have a third kingdom, the country of Rome, I will send there Adramis, my youngest son. وأنتموني إيتستأكيوني بأنت زكاديمو زنسائكومو لدكيكمو اسم يكون بتصع لإግዚአብሔር بأنت زأمرو بسمو سبا إثيوبيا وكونو إزبو. Hold ye not it against me as an evil thing that formerly I took away your sons, for it is a pleasing thing to God that the men of Ethiopia have learned his name and have become his people. وكماه سبا رومني لأما وهابنومو لكيكنا يكون حزب إግዚአብሔር ولنني يتوهب لنا اسم بتبهلو وبتسميو حزب إግዚአብሔር. In like manner, the men of Rome, if we give them our children, will become the people of God. And unto us, moreover, shall be given the name the people of God. And unto us, moreover, shall be given the name of people of God, being spoken of thus and called thus. Nasu Mengiste Ethiopia wa Mengiste Romia Hizbe Israel. The people of Israel have taken the kingdom of Ethiopia and the kingdom of Rome. Wahabu kama kedami dakikumu menisane ومأكلاويانse يقوموا وسط هاجرنا. Give ye your youngest sons as before ye gave the eldest, and let those of middle age stay in our city. وتنسوا ومكروا وجابوا ويبيلوا ننجرو لإجهزينا نبوس زنت نجرا ويجبر فكارو ويبيلومو أسمعونا Asimuni Zetiblu. And they rose up and took counsel and they rose up and took counsel and returned and said unto him, We will speak this matter unto the king, and he shall do his will. And he said unto them, Make me hear what you would say. ويبيلوه نسائك ملاهكة بيتنا ويزني نساء إلى يتيهاتو لكيكم menisane. And they said unto him, Thou hast already taken the eldest of our houses, and now take the youngest of our children. وَالسَّمْرَ بَزِنْتُ مِكْرُ وَجَبْرَ لَوْمُ بَكَمَ فَكَادُ. And he was pleased with this counsel, and he did for them as they wished. وَسِيَمُوا لَأَدْرَامِ وَلِي ونسى إملايتهات مكواننت بيت إسرائيل وركبوا إصل بسم أبوه سليمان وهابوا كاهن إمنجد لواويان سمو أكيميهيل وأصعنوا ديب بكلة نجوس ويبيلوا بح يو أبا نجاسي. And he set forward Adami his son, who took some of the nobles of the lower grades of the house of Israel. And the lot fell upon him in the name of his father Solomon, and they gave him a priest of the tribe of the Levites, whose name was Achimihel. And they set Adrami upon the king's mule and cried out to him, Hail, long live the royal father! And all the people said, It is right and proper. وكأبوه كبا منجست إفرته وعززوه يكأب كلوه منجست. And they anointed him with the oil of kingship and commanded him to keep all the laws of the kingdom. وأمهلوه كما يملك بعد أمالكته زينبال أملاك إسرائيل. And they made him to swear that he would worship no other God except the God of Israel. وباركوه بكما باركوه لداويت إخوه وتئززني بكما أعززه كما هو أعززه لأدرامي وأستفانو إسك هيك بحر. And they blessed him as they had blessed David his brother, and admonished Adrami even as they had admonished David. And they accompanied him on his way as far as the sea coast.